He's an amazing person, really nice guy. But for him and his guys, if you don't say he's the greatest ever, it's like you could commit treason.
Right. You're either for them or against them. It's like, can I just say you're one of the greatest players of all time?
No, you cannot. You cannot. If you do not say he's the greatest of all time, you're committing treason.
Charles Barkley didn't just criticize LeBron James. He broke a 20-year silence that no one in basketball dared to challenge. When Barkley spoke, the room froze. The same networks that had spent years glorifying LeBron suddenly didn't know how to respond. This wasn't your typical post-game hot take or retired player rant. This was an earthquake. The kind that shakes the foundation of everything fans thought they knew about the NBA's golden era. In one breath, Barkley did what few have had the courage to do: call out the untouchable. He accused the league, the media, and even players themselves of bowing to the LeBron empire, an empire built not just on talent, but on control. Barkley said what millions had whispered behind screens and bar counters, that the King's image is protected like a national secret. For 2 decades, no one was allowed to question it. You were either with him or you were finished. The reaction was immediate. ESPN segments suddenly cut short. Twitter melted into chaos. Fans divided overnight, some calling Barkley jealous, others calling him the first honest voice the league had heard in years. And while analysts tried to spin his words as just opinions, the truth hit harder. Barkley didn't sound bitter. He sounded free, because behind his blunt humor and gruff delivery was something deeper, a message about the power dynamics hiding in plain sight. The NBA's biggest star had become bigger than the game itself, and the system was built to protect him. But what if that protection came at a cost? What if Barkley wasn't attacking LeBron, but exposing something much bigger?
The GOAT, who's the greatest and all that, between, him and LeBron. And I try to stay away from that, but I will say LeBron has the greatest career.
I say that all the time.
He has the greatest career.
Right.
But Mike is the best
basketball player ever.
Why a lot of old heads want to dog out LeBron is because they were never as good as he is this late in their career.
Right.
And they want to get on him for that.
Yeah.
LeBron at 22 years in, at 40, whatever he is, and is about ready to be first or second team all NBA.
25, 8, and 8.
As old guys, they were never, call them all out.
Some of them weren't this good in their prime.
That's the thing.
Straight up, they wasn't.
Before there was controversy, there was prophecy. LeBron James wasn't just introduced to the world as a basketball player, he was announced as a savior, the chosen one. That phrase alone set the tone for everything that followed. From the moment a teenage LeBron graced the cover of Sports Illustrated, the media machine began working overtime. Every dunk, every quote, every handshake was part of a narrative carefully sculpted to build not just an athlete, but a global icon. He wasn't joining the NBA, he was inheriting it. Endorsement deals poured in before his first professional bucket. Nike handed him a $90 million contract before he'd ever played a game. Brands didn't just want LeBron's talent, they wanted his story. The humble kid from Akron, the prodigy, destined to restore greatness wherever he went. It was irresistible, and it worked. The league leaned in, the media amplified it, and fans became disciples. The image was spotless, the perfect player, leader, and family man. But that kind of image doesn't build itself. It's engineered, protected, and fed by an ecosystem of network sponsors and narratives that all benefit from the myth of invincibility. And then came the shift, subtle but seismic. Greatness slowly morphed into control. Teams stopped being organizations and started becoming extensions of LeBron's will. Coaches came and went. Rosters were restructured. General managers started operating like advisors rather than decision makers. What LeBron wanted, he got, because saying no meant career suicide. This wasn't just influence, it was governance. A new era had dawned, one where a single player could rewrite the rules of competition. The empire wasn't built overnight, but by the time anyone noticed, it was already too powerful to question. At some point, the game stopped being just basketball. It became politics and sneakers. LeBron James didn't just dominate on the court. He learned how to dominate off it. Every team he joined eventually bent around his gravity. General managers adjusted strategies, coaches altered rotations, and teammates became chess pieces in a larger game of influence. If LeBron wanted a trade, it happened. If he wanted a co-star, they found one. The phrase player empowerment sounded noble, but under the surface, it meant one thing: LeBron had rewritten the balance of power. His move to Miami in 2010 wasn't just a career decision, it was a manifesto. The decision signaled that stars could take control of their destinies, form alliances, and bypass traditional team structures entirely. Soon, everyone followed. Kevin Durant, Kawhi, Leonard James Harden, the super team era was born. But no one wielded that influence like LeBron. He didn't join super teams, he built them. He was the architect, recruiter, and front office consultant all in one. It worked until it didn't. By the time he reached Los Angeles, owners had seen enough. Teams gutted their depth, chasing LeBron's dream rosters, only to be left with bloated contracts and broken chemistry. The NBA's new second apron rule, a cap penalty that crushes teams who overspend, wasn't a coincidence. Insiders whispered it was the league's quiet rebellion against a player who'd been treating franchises like personal projects. The rule limits how many stars a team can afford, how trades can be structured, and how much influence one player can really have. Publicly, it's about competitive balance. Privately, it's about containment. For years, LeBron was the system. Now, the system is fighting back. But that rule wasn't just about money, it was about rebellion. In modern basketball, the real defense doesn't happen on the court, it happens on camera. For years, a wall has been built around LeBron James, brick, by the very people meant to analyze him. Analysts, journalists, and former players turned broadcasters became his unofficial bodyguards, protecting the king from any narrative that could tarnish the crown. Criticism wasn't just discouraged, it was career suicide. Names like Richard Jefferson, Kendrick Perkins, and Shannon Sharpe became familiar not just for commentary but for devotion. Jefferson, LeBron's former teammate, rarely made a segment without reminding audiences how LeBron never had help. Perkins, once one of LeBron's loudest critics, flipped the moment the TV lights came on, transforming into a full-time defender. And Shannon Sharpe, he became the most passionate soldier in the LeBron army, shouting down anyone who dared to compare him to Michael Jordan. The message was clear: loyalty equals airtime. Dissent equals exile. Even casual remarks questioning LeBron's GOAT status sparked outrage. Analysts who praised Jordan or Kobe too openly found themselves mocked, flooded with hate, or conveniently left off certain panels. Entire shows were built around defending LeBron's legacy from haters. The line between journalism and propaganda blurred until the truth itself became taboo. It wasn't just about sports, it was about control. Who got to speak, who got to stay employed, and whose narrative dominated the screen. The LeBron Protection Agency, as fans began calling it, turned debate into dogma. And for years, it worked flawlessly. Until one night, someone walked straight through that wall and set it on fire. A Hall of Famer who didn't care about contracts, connections, or consequences. And his name was Charles Barkley. When Charles Barkley finally spoke, it wasn't a whisper. It was an explosion. The Hall of Famer didn't just throw shade, he threw truth like a grenade into the heart of basketball's biggest myth. Sitting on live television, Barkley called out what everyone else tiptoed around: the manipulation, the hypocrisy, and the double standards that have followed LeBron's career like a shadow. You can't say he's one of the greatest, Barkley scoffed. If you don't call him the greatest, it's like committing treason. It was raw, unscripted, and fearless, the kind of honesty that's been missing from sports media for years. He pointed straight at the system, the endless super team experiments, the political maneuvering, the media's obsession with protecting the GOAT narrative. How can anyone take this league seriously? Barkley said, when one player has more power than half the owners combined. While other analysts danced around the topic, Barkley walked right through the fire. He didn't need LeBron's approval, Clutch Sports' favors, or ESPN's protection. He's been rich, retired, and respected long enough to say whatever he wants, and that freedom made every word sting harder. Online fans went ballistic. Twitter turned into a war zone. One side hailed Barkley as a hero, the last honest voice in a world of scripted talking points. The other side labeled him jealous, bitter, out of touch. But Barkley didn't flinch. He wasn't trying to trend. He was trying to wake people up, to remind them that not every form of greatness comes with a PR team and a narrative budget. Because behind the humor and the chaos, Barkley's message was clear: something's been broken in the NBA for a long time. And maybe he was the first to say it out loud. But Barkley's outburst wasn't random. It was a warning. For years, the narrative around LeBron James was airtight, 4 rings, countless records, the face of an era. But when you start peeling back the layers, the shine begins to fade. The so-called king has been crowned by a story, not by perfection. His finals record, 4 wins, 6 losses, tells a different tale. In a world obsessed with stats, those numbers matter. Because when the pressure was highest, LeBron didn't always deliver. 8 points in a finals game, multiple losses as the favorite. Yet somehow every defeat was repackaged as a lesson, every stumble turned into context. The story kept shifting to fit the man instead of the other way around. The "he never had help" narrative became his shield. But how much help does one man need? From Wade and Bosh in Miami to Kyrie and Love in Cleveland to Davis in LA. LeBron's career has been a parade of all-stars. Still, when things went wrong, it was never his fault. The coach wasn't right. The front office didn't deliver the roster, wasn't deep enough. Meanwhile, the same fans who defend him tear down legends who actually won with less. Contrast that with Michael Jordan. 6 finals, 6 rings, no losses, no excuses. He didn't chase stars, he made stars by demanding greatness. Jordan's killer instinct wasn't about friendship or politics. It was about dominance. He didn't call himself the GOAT, everyone else did. That difference is why the debate feels forced, because the comparison only exists through media maintenance, not merit. Younger fans who never saw Jordan or Kobe play grew up in the LeBron era consuming the myth fed to them by highlight reels and talk shows. But slowly, that illusion began to crack. Numbers don't lie forever. Narratives do. And that's when the empire started to shake. Every empire ends not with a battle, but with the quiet sound of people moving on. For years, LeBron's dominance felt inevitable. Every highlight, every headline, every stat was built to remind the world that no one could touch him. But suddenly, something shifted. The new generation stopped trying to copy him and started surpassing him. Nikola Jokic, with his effortless vision and unselfish play, led Denver to a championship without chasing stars. Giannis Antetokounmpo built a title team the old-fashioned way through loyalty, grit, and relentless growth. Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and others are proving you don't need super teams' backroom deals or hand-picked rosters to win. You just need basketball. The league has quietly adapted. The second apron rule slammed the door on the era of player-manufactured dynasties. Super teams are dying out, replaced by rosters built on chemistry and patience. For the first time in decades, real parity exists. And with it comes an uncomfortable realization. Maybe LeBron's way wasn't the blueprint. Maybe it was the warning. Fans have started to notice too. The once-unquestionable king narrative feels dated, like a rerun of a show everyone's already seen. His every move used to dominate headlines. Now it's met with polite applause instead of awe. Barkley saw it coming before anyone else. He said the LeBron era wouldn't end in scandal or retirement, it would end when the world stopped caring, when silence replaced the noise. Because even for legends, there comes a moment when the world looks past you, when the game you once controlled no longer needs you. The media can protect the image, but not the legacy. And as the cheers fade and the new era rises, one question lingers, and what comes after that silence could redefine the game forever. In the end, Charles Barkley didn't just criticize a player, he exposed a system. His honesty ripped through years of polished interviews, PR campaigns, and carefully constructed narratives. For 2 decades, LeBron James has been more than a basketball player. He's been a brand, a movement, an institution. But behind every empire lies the question of truth, and Barkley dared to ask it out loud. His words reminded fans of something simple yet powerful. Greatness isn't just built on stats, trophies, or sponsorships. It's built on authenticity. Because when you strip away the awards, the records, and the endless highlight reels, what remains LeBron's image has been protected by networks' agents and analysts who owe him their careers. But one day that spotlight will dim. The microphones will turn to the next star. And when that happens, what's left, the legend or the illusion, was he the GOAT or just the best marketed player of his time? Barkley's message wasn't about disrespect. It was about clarity. He wasn't taking a shot at LeBron's skill. He was challenging the machinery that made him untouchable. That's why it hit so hard. Because deep down, fans know he's right. Real greatness doesn't need protection. It speaks for itself. So as the noise fades and the next generation rises, this debate isn't really about LeBron anymore. It's about truth. What kind of greatness do we want to celebrate manufactured or earned? Barkley chose his side. Now it's your turn. When the cameras stop protecting him, what's left, the legend or the illusion? Drop your thoughts below, join the conversation, and hit subscribe, because this isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning of a much bigger one.